She was in the car with her boyfriend who was here illegally. They were stopped. She refused to comply with ICE officers or give any identification. She was briefly detained, and then once she gave identification and they were able to confirm who she was, they released her immediately. Next.
This morning, a GMA exclusive, the 19-year-old college student detained by ICE while trying to visit her family for Thanksgiving, then deported against a judge's order, now speaking out.
It's been hard.
She's had an active deportation order against her since 2015. She has evaded law enforcement by ignoring appeals processes, and DHS emphasized that she received full and due process back then, but chose to stay undocumented. We cannot hate the mainstream media enough. I am not being dramatic when I tell you that every single story like this that you see that the news reports on, there's always more to the story. They will headline something. They will try to push a narrative that is objectively false, that is omitting key pieces of information for the public to know. 10 out of 10 times, without fail, every single anti-ICE video that you see, anti-ICE story that you see is omitting key details. They are not telling you the truth. They're trying to push a narrative to spread fear because the Democrats have to have these votes in order to win. It's their voter base. ICE is doing an incredible job. They're making our country safer. They're ensuring better quality lives for all citizens. They are protecting American citizens first. That's what a country should do. That's what officers should do. Prioritize the safety of its citizens. This smear campaign against them, it's wrong. It's a lie. It's all a lie. Don't fall for it.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Yes, for some time now, I've been watching Joe Rogan to actually see his takes on this issue. Joe Rogan is going against the Trump administration because of what ICE is doing for a very long time. I don't understand why he is doing that. At some point, he says Trump is using ICE as his personal military. These are liberal talking points that I've seen these people putting out every single day. Now, Joe Rogan is saying the same thing, and Fox News did not take this lightly. They are covering this now. A lot of people were ignoring what Joe Rogan was saying. I understand when I report things like this, people will say, oh, stop gaslighting. I don't do that. I just report the news so you can see exactly.
That has gone through the courts that does weigh in for the federal government's role here. Joe Rogan, he's got questions about what's happening, and it's probably echoing what many people are thinking. So let's listen to him and get your reaction.
I see the perspective of the people that say, hey, there was an illegal program moving people in here to get votes, moving people in here to get congressional seats, and we've got to change that. I can also see the point of view of the people that say, yeah, but you don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
So I know you and I talk a lot about communications and PR, and how would the department respond to that concern that he raised?
Well, this answer is very straightforward. If Tim Walz, if Mayor Fry would let us in their jails, we wouldn't have to be there at all. Currently, there are 680 criminal illegal aliens. Dana, that includes people who, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you would never want these people to be on your streets or your neighbors. That's the people who we are targeting, and we are trying to get out of Minneapolis. Because we don't have state and local law enforcement's help, we do have to have a physical presence on the ground there. And I know in the interview as well, and what Joe Rogan just mentioned is
I want to ask you about this. When you talk about the confusion, and you've been
another clip. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't think Rena Good's former father-in-law gave the media the interview they were hoping for. If we walk in the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there. This is what this man actually said, and these people do not like that. They expected him to buy the Trump administration, but at the end of the day, they were shocked. Take a look at what he said on this video.
I want to ask you about this. When you talk about the confusion, and you've been open, obviously, about your support for the president, when you look at the videos of what happened, and I'm sure they're very hard for you, Timmy, to watch if you've even been able to, but the Deputy Attorney General says that the Justice Department doesn't believe that there's evidence to back a criminal investigation, right? And nothing about charges or anything like that, just an investigation into what happened in terms of the ICE agents' actions. But they were, according to the prosecutors resigning today, pressuring them to investigate Renee's actions and Becca, her wife's actions. How do you feel about all that?
Well, I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, it's a hard situation all the way around. It's hard for for everybody involved. I mean, the ICE agent, at first I didn't see the footage where, he was actually, he was actually being ran. I mean, I seen the bump of the car hitting his legs. And so in a flash like that, it's hard to say how you would react. From my understanding that he had been through that before, maybe dragged or something. And so, like I said, it's just a hard situation for everybody. Becca, she's a great person as well. I mean, I don't have any many enemies. I love everybody, and that's what the Bible tells us: love our neighbors as we love ourselves. But I think there's some bad choices, and the word says, "For the wrath of God will come upon the children of disobedience." And it's I don't blame ICE, I don't blame Rebecca, I don't blame Renee. I just wish that if we're walking the Spirit of God, I don't think she would have been there.
This is what we are talking about. This happened recently in Minnesota. And when you want to say, like, this lady was not supposed to be there, you will see a lot of people, say a lot of things. I don't believe that if you stay in your house, avoid this kind of, demonstrations everywhere. Things like this will happen to you. She happens to be the victim in this case. The father-in-law is here saying this. At some point, I saw that video. I was like, I was shocked to actually see that respond. Now, going back into Joe Rogan, what I don't understand with Joe Rogan is this. Is he for the Trump administration or against? Or his problem is mainly focused to see the crimes some of these people commit, or he just pick up videos like what I see on social media. Looking at that first lady you saw, any video that the mainstream media air, there's always a background story behind it. They will never tell you, they will not make you to see, they will always twist it to say a different narrative. That has been the case. I will say this again for people who usually bash me on this topic, like, oh, stop gaslighting people. I don't gaslight people. I just report, share my opinion. I might be in line with you or against you, and I plead on everyone. Sometimes I will say things that are contrary to yours. We should be able to coexist even with that. The reason I always admire comments disagreeing with me, it shows I'm doing something and I appreciate it. As of the short clip, that is for the white algorithm. You can always skip.
This is the thing. You said gather around and say, oh, she's accusing all of the folks at ICE of being criminals. That is not what I'm doing.
This was happening in Minneapolis is
no one watching.
That we don't normalize what's going on in this country right now. I love America. I love us. I love our communities, free speech, the Trevor Project. And
my babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be off them damn phones and watching me right now.
Bill Maher, you give us so much.
Yes, Globe for best editing goes to the Justice Department.
I'm a little in shock about that.
Maduro.
Let your hatred and
sit this one out.
Well, these guys are paid, dude. And we
100.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the. Well, I want to see them get it.
MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Robin.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
You and your husband were friends with Rob and Michelle Reiner, and
Everybody knew that wasn't true. A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night back on his own. In one interview, she said,
We should have said nothing.
The United States to make no comment.
When
People ought to have.
Absolute horror.
Hi, Mel Gibson. I'm in Italy.
Obviously has an opinion on this, and
I'm letting y'all know now I do support ICE. I stand for everything they doing. If it's anybody that's getting